More than 300 Sewage and Water Board employees were at their posts when Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans on August 29, 2005. And they stayed through the catastrophic flooding that engulfed 80% of New Orleans after the levees broke. These dedicated and heroic employees were first responders providing critical emergency sewerage and water board system restorations, while in many instances fighting for their own survival and the survival of others. Their valiant efforts must not be forgotten but preserved for posterity as a testament to the courage, tenacity, and dedication of these employees in the face of overwhelming odds. In this MyStory vignette, one of the many Katrina heroes of the Sewage and Water Board tells his story in his own words. Ned Henry is a veteran employee of the Sewage and Water Board. Henry was on duty at Drainage Pumping Station number 19, located in what is called the Upper Ninth Ward on the Industrial Canal, when Hurricane Katrina roared into New Orleans. Can you state your name for the camera?
My name is Ned J. Henry.
And what is your job?
I'm a pumping and power plant operator.
Where were you stationed on August 29th?
I was at pump station 19.
Is that one of the more critical stations?
Yeah, I guess you would say they all are critical. If we're pumping water out the whole city, they all are critical.
What was going through your mind as you were experiencing the events of August 29th?
It was, I had a lot of things in my mind. I was worried about myself. I was worried about family members. I was worried about friends. And I tried to get a lot of people to get out of this city as much as possible. Because we often talked about the big storm coming one day. And I say this may be the big one, because this storm filled up the whole Gulf. And I was trying to call many people that I possibly can to get out the city. And most people got out except a brother of mine. He had to rescue him from the top of the roof. He was on kidney dialysis. He eventually wound up dying because he didn't get the treatment that he should have gotten. And, but we still had a job to do. It was a big loss. I would miss my brother, but
What happened to your brother?
well, he was on kidney dialysis. He didn't get any treatment for a while because they had to come rescue him from the roof where he was living, in the Gentilly area. And when they got him to Lafayette, he was pretty messed up. He died like about a month, about a few months after he got there.
Where were you when the levees breached?
We didn't get a chance to hear anything because everything was we was at 19, but the power went out and we didn't know what was going on. We lost contact with central control, phones, everything. We had nothing. So we just rode the storm.
At what point did you realize that you were fighting for your life?
Just hearing the sound of that storm. And I remember the supervisor has to go at the back to try to close the gates to try to prevent the water from the discharge siphoning back to the pumps into the canals. And so we did, we tried to do that, but the water was so high and we had to fight against that head. And we had problems doing that. And so, with the wind and stuff blowing, was pushing us all around. So he informed us to come back in, so we did. And we just had to let the storm ride, and try to save ourselves to get out of the way of the water that was rising.
How did you end up managing to save yourself?
Well, we just tried to get high as we can away from the water. And we went up to the third floor. We was trying to get everything. We was trying to go up this crane that we had at the top of the station. We was gonna climb up there. All of us gonna get up there because we didn't know how high the water was gonna get. It was coming. So it got up on that floor up there, and then the storm went to settle for a while. Then we had to climb the crane. So after that, we just got together and we just started getting to work. And we had water got onto the gearboxes and stuff like that. We had to pump all that stuff out, and we had to pump with water in or being in the gearboxes until we got the water down.
So you were on alternate power at that time?
No. Well, we didn't get on alternate power until after the storm left. We got on diesel generator power.
What was foremost on your mind about getting things back under control at this point?
Well, our main concern was really trying to get the water, pump the water out the city, because we couldn't go anywhere. We were surrounded by water. We couldn't go anywhere. So that was our main concern, to try to pump the water out. And I don't know what was going on at other stations or so forth, All I know is that we were pumping in our area where we were, and I didn't know how bad the water was. We was inside the pump station, and so we got to pumping, and we pumped and we pumped and we pumped and we pumped. The military came out and got fuel for us, and MREs and food and so forth, where we could keep going. We pumped. I think it took something like 22 days before the water got down. It took about 22 days.
Were you able to get any sleep?
To be honest with you,
Yeah.
I got to average about 2 hours of sleep a day. About 2 hours of sleep a day.
How did you keep going?
I don't know. I just was doing my job. Just doing my job. Doing what we were paid to do.
How do you think what you did in your job helped the city recover?
Well, they talk about first responders and so forth. I don't think anybody more first responders than we were. Before anybody else can do their job, we had to get the water out of the city first. So I think we were really first responders. Not putting anybody else down like that, but we had to get the water out where everybody can do their job. Where people can come back and they can have recovery, putting things back together and so forth. But
what was going through your mind in that regard while you were trying to get things back on track?
It was, Norman, the thing is that it was kind of, I didn't know what to expect or anything. We never knew, not like this never happened to us before, of this magnitude. That's with Hurricane Katrina. And after we got the water down, the city looked like an atomic bomb hit it, because we got out and about. And I say, wow, Lord, are we going to ever come back? That's what I was thinking about. Or this city going to recover from this? And that's what I was thinking about a lot. How are we going to recover from all this?
You knew that the recovery wasn't possible unless you got the water out.
Right. We had to get the water down. Right. We had to. And when we got that down, and trust me, there were people coming from all over the world coming down here to help get things back together in the city. We were really grateful for that.
How did you feel about your effort in getting things accomplished?
We felt real proud for what we done. We felt proud. We felt like we did our job. Every year, I volunteer to stay for storms. I don't love when storms come here, but I love doing my job. So I felt good about it. I felt great about it. I'm quite all of my coworkers did as well. We felt good about what we done.
After all you went through, would you do it again?
Yes, I would. In spite of all what I went through, I'll do it again. Because I love my job, and I love my job, and I love the city of New Orleans. I'll do it all over again. People think I'm crazy, but hey. They think I'm crazy, but hey, I love what I do. And I learned a lot of survival skills in the midst of all that as well. I learned a lot of survival skills.
What's the most important survival skill that you learned?
Well, when you're used to having running water, food, and so forth, and everything, and electricity, air conditioning, all these things. When all of a sudden you just lose these things, hey, either you're going to panic and fall apart, or you're going to try to get the movement and try to say, hey, we got to do something to keep going. And we did a lot of things we had to do. And like we had to bathe with bottled water and so forth, and did whatever we had to do to keep going.
Do you consider you and your coworkers heroes?
Yes. Yes, I do. We're heroes. I just, not saying that we're looking for a lot of recognition. I just don't think we got enough recognition. I don't think we did. I really don't think, because one guy, a friend of mine, one of the pump operators, he left and went to Atlanta. And when he seen everything on television, he seen the water being pumped out. He just seen the pump station, but he didn't see anybody. It's like nobody was in the stations, like the pumps was pumping it all by themselves. But they had people in those stations, and we were in there. We never left. That was our home, because we didn't have, transportation, ways to get out, so forth like that. Well, me the longest, to be honest with you. I stayed the longest. But, hey, it was okay. I really didn't have a problem. I just love doing what I'm doing. I love my job.
How would you describe the progress of the Sewage and Water Board to this point?
I think they made great progress. It took some time. Some of it was a little slow, but they made great progress.
So you're pretty satisfied with the way you are. 10 years later, what's the most satisfactory part for you?
I was glad to see that they got a lot of a lot of apartments and homes and stuff rebuilt, and where people can come back. I mean, we don't have the amount of people we used to have at one time in the city. We might be like about 150,000 less, but still in all, I was glad to see that progress get done. And also businesses coming back, where we can start, flowing again in New Orleans. I mean, I was glad to see those things happen.
I want to personally thank you and your coworkers for your commitment and dedication.
Thank you.
The flooding of New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina was the most devastating disaster to hit any U.S. city. When most of the city was evacuating, some 300 Sewerage and Water Board employees stayed on the job, facing great personal peril to respond to this devastating crisis. We salute our Katrina heroes who met the greatest challenge of their lives and found a way to rise above the storm and overcome the impact of Hurricane Katrina. The board's forces dewatered the city in 11 days after the breaches were closed and began to restore quality of life, services of water, sewer, and drainage to the city. It was the restoration of these services that made it possible for citizens to return. It was the restoration of these services that made it possible for progress to begin, going from devastation to recovery, restoration, and today, rebuilding of the most complex infrastructure in the country. Today, confidence in the Sewerage and Water Board's management and fiscal responsibility has resulted in the first water and sewer rate increases since the 1990s. These increases will be the building blocks for the development and the continuous rebuilding of the board's systems in the future.